And we are live with Writing Sprint Wednesdays, and I have my friend just popping her on the screen now, Emily.
Hey there.
How are you, Emily?
I am good. Sorry, the internet was not my friend, but I was like, I can do it. I can get here. So here
You
I
get there.
am. I did
Excellent. Well,
it.
I'm glad to have you here. I was having some technical issues yesterday with the internet, with StreamYard, which is what we use to stream here, and it's just, it can be frustrating at the best of times, it seems. But
It can be, but I made it. So that's the important part. And I'm glad to see you
exactly.
again.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you too. And I'm dropping the link to the first sprint in the chat. Emily, if you want to join us in word sprints, I'll drop it in our private chat in the back end of StreamYard here. But I also want to say hello to everyone some folks been hanging around for an hour. NJ got here super early. Bon is here. Elena, Linda's here. AR is here. Taylor, Hilder, Aaron, Sarah. Let me keep scrolling here. Joanna saying, so excited to find a community like this one where I get to write with peeps who love it as much as I do. And I could not have said it better, Joanna. So thanks for that kind comment. Shelly is here, and Carmen, and LJ, and Natty, and Star. Star's just waking up. Errol is here, and Susan. Hello, hello. Emily, how have you been since we last saw one another a few weeks ago?
Oh, I've been good. Really digging into like that part of my novel that I know needs to be written, but like intimidates me. I don't know if you ever feel that way about your work. Where like these scenes are really important and have to happen, but I'm more excited about what comes after them than them. Do you know what I
Yep.
mean? So
Yep.
I've been it's hard, right?
Yeah, I have one draft that I need to revise of one of my novels where there's just like 3 scenes missing because I said, "Oh yeah, I want to write this, but I want to write this other thing more." And so I just skipped it. And now I have these holes that just need patching.
I kind of love that though. I know some people are like, "Oh my God, you're a chaos monster," but I have an outline and that allows me to skip around in that way so that if I'm so frustrated and I can't write my way into it with the sprint, I can take a little break and be like, "All right, you know what? I know that this is not quote unquote wasted. I'm skipping ahead to this pivotal scene that I know is going to be in there, and you know what? Then at least I know where I'm going. So it's not like I'm just like yelling into the abyss, words come to me. So that's where I am. I have this the second scene of the 2 that I knew were really gonna like give me fits, and so I'm like doggedly chugging along, and hopefully when I get to the end and piece it all together, it won't be like, oh no, what was that?
Excellent. Today I am working on just some jot notes for each individual scene that I'm writing in the book we're writing next month. This week for our 60-day novel challenge, part of the homework is setting up your plot grid in Dabble. And I have my columns set up. I have my scenes all set up, my chapters there. I just want to do some more detailed outlining for each scene. Normally, I don't do as much as I think I'm going to, but I like showing off what people can do if they really want to dive into like the far end of the plotting spectrum. Because I know some of my colleagues, especially Abby, showed off a plot grid for one of her books the other day, and there were 2 columns, and it was what happens and what does it mean, and yeah,
That's the way I do it. It's very similar. It's Jenny Nash's Inside Outline.
yep,
It's the same thing. No more than 3 sentences for the action of each scene, no more than 3 sentences for the plot. But I will say that even if folks are discovery or intuitive writers who feel like, oh my God, they hear that and like hives are just breaking out all over their happy skin, I would say that these outlining tools can be a really great resource when you are revising.
yeah.
So if you have already written the book and you're like, I don't know, I can't see the forest for the trees or whatever, you can apply these same things. I know with the inside outline, it sounds the same with Dabble's tools as well. And you can be like, all right, so let me see. Do 2 scenes have the same point? Is this scene like have no action? The character's just sitting around in the kitchen thinking, well, maybe it can be like combined with another scene and condensed. So those outlining tools, even for people who have outlining allergies or who are very intuitive or discovery based, can be wonderful to apply like as a sort of retcon to your novel, I found.
Absolutely. All right, our sprint has started, so happy writing, everyone. We will talk to you in 20 minutes. All right, and that is our first sprint of the day done. Let me pull that off the screen. Emily, how did that sprint go for you?
Really well. It was exciting because I had been forced to leave off in a place yesterday where I really wanted to keep going. I don't know if you ever feel that way and you're just ripped
Hmm.
away. So I just was churning it over all night long, and my brain solved a little plot problem while I was sleeping. So it was great to get it on the page. How about you?
Really well. I like I said, I'm detailing some of the scenes more, and I'm still like it's like it never ends. No matter how much outlining I'm doing, I'm still asking myself questions as I go and having like, oh, this would be really cool to add here, or okay, I need to figure this out and come back to it later, because it might reveal itself later down the line.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
it
that's
was
so much
fun.
fun to do. That's
Yeah.
it's nice how your story reveals itself to you. Sometimes I feel like by having an outline like that, instead of restricting me, it basically gives me what Victoria Schwab calls the story's bones. And then once I know what the general shape is, it gives me more freedom to experiment. So
Exactly. That's what I love about it. Let's I'm gonna quickly just celebrate some wins in the chat here. So Stephanie joined us. Welcome, Stephanie, and Kio's here as well. Star got 417, Aaron 364, Elena 168, Sarah 511, LJ 194, Danny with 73, and Errol 307. Carmen got a full page, and Jennifer joined us. Bond got no words unless you count messaging the day job, but for the next sprint, she's gonna be working on the plot grid. Excellent. And Susan was working on the plot grid. Joanna got 52 after trimming some words, and Rosalinda 189, Natty 446, AR 185, NJ 375. Emily, there was a question that we answered while we were sprinting. Joanna asked if you were an Author Accelerator certified coach. And then we had some questions about what that means. So do you mind explaining for the fine folks at home what that means?
sure. And sorry, I can't reply. No matter what I do, I cannot join the chat. So I had to message Doug and be like, "Can you please reply for me?" So basically, what a book coach, so Author Accelerator certifies book coaches in both fiction and nonfiction. Myself, I'm just certified in fiction. But what that is basically is, when you work with an editor, a lot of the time they will go through just once. They'll give you an edit letter. Maybe you have a follow up phone call, and hopefully they give you helpful suggestions, but it's not an ongoing relationship, although certainly you could maybe book with them to relook at your pages. A book coach is different. It's more like a mentor who cares as much about your story as you do, who usually commits to working with you for a period of time with a specific goal, whether it's drafting your first draft, whether it's revising your novel. So some book coaches specialize in brainstorming from the beginning of the idea, talking through your plot, troubleshooting, all of that good stuff. Some book coaches want you to come with a fully finished manuscript, and they'll spend several months revising with you. You can brainstorm series. Book coaches also work with people about like, hey, I'm at a career crossroads. Should I go trad? Should I go indie? Or some book coaches specialize in pitching, right? How do I approach agents? How do I get my query and synopsis to shine? So Author Accelerator is a certification program that basically walks you through giving you a whole bunch of different tools to work with writers of all different stripes and types effectively. There's 3 practicums that are part of it where you're getting a lot of experience. And I had done this work for a long time, but really wanted to sort of cement it with some formal training and certification. And so it's a lengthy program, but I think it's really valuable, and it's got a great community built around it and has some wonderful tools as well. And I'm guessing Joanna asked that because Jenny Nash, who came up with the Inside Outline, it's her program.
Yeah, I know. So Abby on our team, Abby Matthews, worked a lot with Jenny, and she can't say enough good stuff about Author Accelerator. And she keeps saying, Doug, you should go do that. And I keep being on the verge of doing it. And then I'm just like, okay, but I'm so busy doing all of these things. But it looks like such a cool program. And there's not a lot out there that certifies book coaches. I don't know if there's anything out there that certifies it the way that Author Accelerator does.
I haven't seen anything else like that. I don't have my coaching rates up on my website right now. So if you go to my website, you'll just see my editing stuff. But I love it much more than editing because I always feel so bad. I was a Pitch Wars mentor. I was a Kiss Pitch mentor. Right now I'm a Duke Art Studio mentor. And that sort of like ongoing mentorship where people are really like, hey, what do I do? I feel stuck. How do I get out of this? I mean, it's one thing to give someone notes to revise, but then if they could have done that, they probably would have done it in the first place. So I always feel so bad. Like, I want to see it again. I want to help you. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed or scared or sad or like an imposter. I want to be there to support my writers through the process and celebrate their joys with them and care as much about their books as they do and see them grow and improve. So that's what I love so much about being a book coach. And Author Accelerator's certification is arduous and comprehensive, but absolutely a wonderful experience. It was a great experience for me.
I want to pick your brain about it a little bit more, but our sprint has started. Let
Let's
me
do
throw
it.
it up on the page or on the screen, and we'll see everyone in 19 and a half minutes now. All right, and that is our second sprint of the day done. Emily, how'd that go for you?
Pretty well, pretty well. I'm on a roll. Hopefully, I can finish the scene by the end.
Excellent.
How about you? How'd it go?
It very well. I'm making a lot of progress, and it's just I know we mentioned this before, but something happened this time around where I thought that the victim of the killer clown was just going to be someone, right? Just a nobody. But then as I'm outlining it, I'm like, okay, what if there's actually this slight connection to our antagonist's past, like something very thin, but like is there? Because we always want like a connection, right? We don't want it to be purely random, even if people in real life, like killers in real life, might kill at random. It's a lot more meaningful if I can have some kind of thread that connects them in a story like this. So I had that nice aha moment that what we were talking about before about how discovery writing is fun and fulfilling and you find a lot of stuff in it. It's the same kind of thing. It's like discovery outlining in
Yeah,
this case.
I love that. And you're absolutely right because it raises the stakes for the
Mhm.
reader because you're like, oh, who's this person? What's the connection? How does it work? Why are they the victim of all, I think it makes it more interesting and more complex rather than a random person that doesn't necessarily tell us anything about the story. You're like really making all your details work for you, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it gives me more stuff for the characters to do because this character started as like a one woman, powerhouse in the first book, but now she's on a team, and so I have to balance giving everyone on the team a role and something meaningful to do rather than just like twiddling their thumbs,
And I
right?
will say that like it's really, really hard to write. We have to start a new sprint, but it's really, really hard to write good scenes with a group where you don't just realize that you left a character hanging like a coat in a
Yeah.
closet. That's really
Yeah.
hard. It's not like John said this, Jane said that, Joan said this, so that's so tough. So like it sounds like you did a really nice job of that because it's really
Thank
hard.
you. I do also have though, I'm trying to find the note here. In like the sixth chapter, I say, Faz, who's one of my characters, has been very passive in all this. How can I include her more? So there's still stuff to figure out, but that'll come as I'm writing too. Like I
Yeah,
don't
and you can give them like a place to go, a little bit. You're
Yeah,
like, okay, you have no role in
exactly.
this scene. I'm going to send you over here. Leave the room. So yeah, no, it's so hard, and it's like sometimes when people have a huge cast of characters, I'll recommend that they actually do like a character grid where they like keep track of the last time, like every time a
That's a good
character is
idea.
mentioned, right? So just chapter one, these people are here. Chapter two, these people are here, and every character is a different color. So like if you look back and you're like, I didn't see secondary character for half the book, yet they were very important in the first half. Oh God, I forgot them. It's helpful.
I'm actually right now going to add a characters in the scene column for my plot grid so I can call back on this moment tomorrow when we're doing our live show.
100%. Hey, there's another question I can't answer, which is because I
Oh,
can't type. Do you use a service for your email sign up? I can't figure it out in the HTML. So I'm assuming that's like, do I use MailChimp? Do I use Tiny Letter? Do I use Substack? I use AWS.
okay.
So
Excellent. Excellent. And I know I've used Squarespace has a built-in email marketing system, MailerLite, and Kit has a nice little pop-up that they do and a nice form embedding that they do as well. So cool. Awesome. Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, how much time do we have? We still have a minute. Okay, that's not enough time for me to ask about more coaching stuff. So if you have a few minutes after this next sprint, then we'll chat more, a little bit more about that. But let's just take a quick glance at the chat here because I know we had some great wins coming in, and TW joined us. No writing for TW today, but here for the good vibes, and there have been nothing but good vibes, which is awesome. I mean, that's always the case, but that's Sarah's doing discovery outlining this week as well. I love it. Awesome. And Errol is off to cook dinner, but so happy about the progress you told yourself you didn't have time for. I'm glad that you were able to make that progress. NJ's asking for a Dugget today. Okay, I'll think of a nugget of Dug wisdom to drop after this next sprint. There's got to be something brewing in my head, but we've been doing so much content lately that I don't want to repeat myself. It's a finite well. Maybe, maybe we'll come up with something. All right. I'm going to add this onto the screen, and our sprint is starting. Happy writing, everyone. We'll see you in 20 minutes. right, our third and final sprint of the day done. Emily, how'd that go?
Oh, very good. Almost
Good.
done. I think one more sprint later on, and I'll be able to wrap up that scene and read it through, which is like just the best feeling. So,
Awesome. Awesome. How many more scenes until you're done with this draft?
oh, a fair amount. I'd say I'm about maybe at like somewhere between a third and half.
Okay.
But it's the
Excellent.
second book in a duology. So
Nice.
it's hard. You have to you don't have that bridge book the way you do in a trilogy. So
Hmm.
everything needs to be tied up here. And, I think the book right now is a great big exercise in when bad things happen to good people. So I'm trying to my poor characters. I'm like, I'm so sorry I've done this to you. And my characters are probably sobbing, who hurt you? And why are you taking it out on us? So I get it.
I feel like the folks here know that I have no qualms about being mean to my characters in some of the worst ways. Well, that makes compelling writing. What can I say? So,
It does. Well, how's your clown? How did it turn out? Your clown.
well, we're so far into the outline where one clown has been killed, another clown has turned themselves in because they're feeling some regret at all this murder going on, and so our characters are just learning there are multiple clowns out
Ah,
there. Yeah, yeah.
terrifying. Multiple clowns. No, no.
The people asked for a Dugget, specifically NJ, but the only thing that I could come up with, and this is, it's a valuable piece of information, is that there's as much as we can get up here and say, you should be doing this or you should be doing that, or how I do the plot grid or how the inside out method works. The best way to write is the way that you find best for yourself. And I think the more that you write, the more that you practice outlining and revising, and the more feedback you get, eventually over 4, 5, 10 books, you're going to figure out your exact process that lends from all the different things that you have heard and read and listened to and watched. Listened to and heard are the same thing, but you know what I'm saying. You're going to make this Frankenstein way of doing things. But it takes practice. It takes practice, and it takes absorbing all that information. Would you agree, Emily?
Oh, 100%. I think it's actually very damaging to try and cram your own creative style
Mm-hmm.
into, well, I should wake up and be part of the 5:30 a.m. writing club, or
Mm-hmm.
I should, always outline, or I should never outline, or every book is different and every person is different, and our writing process is as different as our brains. I think it was maybe Sarah Cannon who said at some point, when you're planning for how you're going to write, plan for how you actually are, not your peak level of functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me kind of goes along with the same thing, don't plan that you're going to wake up tomorrow because it's November 1 and November is the month that you're planning to draft your novel, and suddenly believe that I'm going to be the sort of person who gets up at 5:30 and makes my coffee and ignores everything and sits down and writes, if you know that your brain doesn't come alive until 3 a.m., or that this time you're going to outline, or this time you're only going to use save the plot, or you're going to, or save the cat, whatever, or you're going to use Scrivener and you're going to magically figure it out. That I think is really hard on ourselves, rather than meeting ourselves where we are, learning our process and accepting that. So the person next to you might be like, that's chaotic and bizarre, but for you, if it works, then it's the right method for you.
Yeah, I love talking about like goals and writing habits and stuff, but I always say that writing revolves around your life, not the other way around. So to what you were saying, you can't just try and cram somebody else's way of doing things into your life, because that's just not how it works. That's it just won't fit.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And I think also just to, really, for me, has been very, very helpful. I tend to dream big and be like, I could do it. I can write all of this. And I'm not necessarily thinking, okay, but in a given day, what do I actually have to do this week?
mhm,
Counting driving, counting walking the dog, counting whatever it is, to really realistically look at, oh gosh, I thought I was going to have 20 hours this week, but I have 10. And
mhm,
kind of sussing that out beforehand helps me not blame myself and get into the punishing myself writing cycle where I'm like, I said I was going to do 30,000 words and I didn't. Well, if you're realistic and kind to yourself and look at your life, like you said, and realize that you don't have that much time, then even though you're not getting as much done as you hoped, you're getting as much done as you could reasonably expect, which I think is really beneficial when it comes to not beating yourself up.
Yeah, which leads me to a shameless plug that I want to make. But first, Rosalinda asked if I will be at Author Nation. I will not. That's international travel for me, and it's just not in the books this time around, or in the cards, I guess. So no, I shan't be at Author Nation. But if you are going to Author Nation, have a lot of fun. I hear it's a fantastic time. I hear it's a lot going on. There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of stuff you can learn, and people you can learn from. So have fun at that. Maybe next year I'll go. But the shameless plug, oh, and there's Save the Cat writes a novel.
Someone
That's
was
Jessica
asking it.
Brody.
Yeah. Someone was
Yeah.
asking about it. So here it is. It's just a plotting structure. It's not the magic pill, but since somebody was asking about it, there it is.
But my shameless plug is that this week for our 60-day novel challenge, in addition to setting up your plot grid and thinking about theme, step 3 is setting yourself up for success by setting some goals, by looking at your calendar and figuring out, okay, can I write this day? Do I have too much stuff going on? What's realistic for me to write in a day or a week? Because we are starting Saturday embarking on writing 50,000 words in a month, which is no small feat. But I would much rather you look at your calendar and look at your life and figure out, okay, I can realistically write 500 words a day. And then over the course of November, you write 15,000 words. I would be thrilled with that rather than you saying, okay, I'm going to ruin the next month of my life and be very stressed and sleep deprived and sad trying to hit 50,000 words when it doesn't realistically work with your schedule. If you can hit that 50,000 words, it's a challenge. It's not going to be easy, but that's what we're going to be going for. Then great, come along. But if you know that you can't, set a realistic goal that you can achieve and come along when you can. That's my 2 cents. And I am going to share one more time in the chat here a link to Emily's website. Emily, I'm looking at the calendar that Abby made for me, and I don't think we have, at least in the next month, another sprint together.
I know, it's so sad. I feel sad. My little
we'll
heart
have
is
to set
breaking.
something up.
I know. No, this is so much fun. Y'all are such a wonderful community, and it's just always so great to like connect with other writers who are inspiring each other and coming together. And there's just something about the energy of knowing, even if you aren't with people in a coffee shop or on a writing retreat, that we're all putting out that creative energy into the universe together and holding ourselves accountable in a gentle way. So I love that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for joining in on the sprints today. I'm glad you were able to get some good work, and I'm glad you were able to get closer to whatever your goal may be. Tomorrow, we have our 60-day novel challenge live show where we're going to show off some plot grids. And then on Saturday, we start writing towards that big goal of 50,000 words in a month.
You can do it. Right. You can do it, I believe.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.
Bye.